Welcome, guys, to another episode at Executive Warrior Channel. And have you ever suffered this problem where you try to remember something you've read, but you forgot? You can't quite recall. When it comes to use this, all the information you know is there, it's somewhere in the brain, but somehow, like you just can't pull that information out. Then you have to go and look through your notes and waste a lot of time. So we don't like that, right? That's not good for you if you want to be truly effective. If you've got goals to achieve, you want to be able to remember everything you've learned. And this is today's topic, how you can remember everything you learn. Recall the information that you know will make a big difference in your life. And I'm going to share with you three primary principles that I've personally used to help me remember all the material, to formulate a system to be able to teach some of the most demanding leaders and executives who expect me to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's begin. Welcome to this channel, and my name is Stephen Koh, head coach here at Executive Warrior Academy, where we help you build a stronger body, make you smarter, and help you become more influential. So as we've introduced in the topic is how you can remember everything you've learned. So let's begin. Well, the first principle is learning to teach, and to teach as soon as possible. While you're absorbing the material, always think about what you are going to share to someone else, how you can explain this concept to someone else. When you keep that in mind, you'll find that you retain so much more information because you're constantly learning and digesting. I learned this as a martial artist from my Sifu. As I was growing up, 12 years old, and I progressed through the rank, he told me, Stephen, new students came in, show them the forms and show them how to do basic punches. I go, but Sifu, I'm not a master. That's what I'm thinking. But if you haven't been to a traditional kung fu school, you know that when your master, when your Sifu tell you to do something, you go in, do it, right? Don't question. So he's very traditional in that way. But when I was teaching how to punch to new students, I thought, well, here's how you punch. You bring your fist up like this and you punch. Okay, that's how you do a punch. 1, 2. Then they asked me the question, Steve, when you actually punch, do you rotate your fist like that, or is it straight? And also, do you lock your elbows? Where do you start? Like, do you start from here or do you start from here? How? And at that moment, I got, I never thought of that way. I just punch, I just explain. And it turns out that when you master a technique, when you get really good at it, you become unconsciously competent. As you are not really thinking about it because you're doing it, it's ingrained in your muscle memory. That's the journey of mastery. But when you master something, what you also lose is the state of not knowing. They call this the curse of knowledge, because you already know so much, you kind of lost the ability to explain to someone else. And through explaining to my new students, it turns out I've gained a new comprehension of my own technique. Going through that journey helped me realize when I'm teaching something to someone, I need to redigest, reformulate what I know or what I think I know in a way that someone else they can understand. So if you can visualize this, right? You've got your knowledge and it's like a putty. You shape it into a particular mold that fits in your brain and works. When someone new come in and you need to explain it to them, what happens is that you need to look at the brain, and the brain is maybe not triangle, maybe the brain is round, or maybe the square. And then you have to reshape that knowledge like clay to fit. I can't make my thing fit. As I reshape this knowledge to fit them and then many other people, what that knowledge becomes is pliable, flexible, and usable. Just like putty, as you mold it, it becomes more pliable because we're using it more often. So when you learn something with the intent to teach it to someone else and to basically take that knowledge to explain a way someone else understands. That reinforces your own learning. That knowledge becomes useful. It becomes useful for you, and that's how you internalize new things you learn. So when you go and listen to a podcast, when you go and read a book or take a course, think about how you explain it. Never just copy. Never just take down exactly what the teacher said or what the lecturer said. Always think about how you explain it to someone else. Now, Richard Feynman, one of the most famous physicists in the world, and he's actually a very famous teacher because he's so good at explaining things simply, and he uses this technique all the time. It's also so popular that it's also known as the Feynman technique. It's just that I learned it from my teacher, my Kung Fu teacher, and they've been doing it for several thousand years, but they just haven't have a name for this. So principle number one, go and learn to teach. Learn with the intent to teach someone else as soon as possible. All right, let's look at principle number two, space and recall. So the concept is when you learn in the moment, you start to already thinking about how you teach someone else. But there's always going to be a bit of time lag between that moment and teaching, right? Actually teaching, like going home from the class or finishing the webinar, finishing the seminar, and going to talk to your spouse or your kids. So there's that space. And it turns out in neuroscience research, when there's a little bit of space between learning and the need to recall, to teach to someone else, it actually reinforces the neural pathway in your brain, because your brain, the way your brain works is when you need to recall something, that sends a signal to your brain that information is probably important. If you read a book and you didn't have to recall it means it signals your brain, that's interesting, but not that important. You're not going to use it, so let's wipe it away. Let's build memory that you actually need. So it's very much a case of use it or lose it, right? So knowledge comes in when you have new knowledge, when you learn something, give it some space. Sometimes it could be simple, 30 seconds, just take your mind off learning, look at something else, and then try to recall, what did I just read? What you can use memory card, you can use all kind of, you can look back in, like try to recall what you've written down on your notes, but without looking at your notes. And if you do forget, then that's the recall. And repeat as many times as possible. Give it some space, then recall. When you learn to teach, that also help create that space and recall. It's just that as you learn, you want to use that as often as you possible. Give it some time, trying to forget what you just learned, and then trying to recall back. Space, recall, that will help you retain that knowledge, reinforce the neural pathway to make a strong connection, make it easier for you to recall. Okay, so we're going to go on to tip number 3. Oops, not this one, this one, digest and integrate. So as you learn, what will help is you recalling, but then you're also trying to formulate your system. And this is how you can take something new, like a new putty, and integrate it into your old putty. Because in our head is knowledge that we already learned. But for us to truly learn this new piece of knowledge, we have to drop everything and to absorb and accept just as it is, without prejudgment. That's how you can open yourself to new experiences. But at some point, these knowledge, we have to take what we want and what we like out of it and formulate our own system of understanding to integrate it into our daily life. It's just like when you learn a better way to, let's say, brush your teeth, you have to make it a habit of doing that. If you never do that, if you never integrated your habit, it just doesn't become part of you. In martial art, they're saying if I learn a new martial art, I need to integrate it into my system to formulate my own framework, and that will help you build a better understanding of that technique, because not only have you explained it to someone, not only have you added space and recall, but you've added a step where you digest, integrate to create your own framework, integrate with your own system of understanding. And I'll give you an example. Let me switch off switch over to Blackboard. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so when I learned to discover new energy and vitality so that I can get more done, I used to be like sick and tired all the time. I was young in the 20s, but then I got so little energy. I feel like I'm more in the 50s or 60s, like an old man. But then as I learned, I realized the first thing I need to do is to fix sleep. Okay, well, that's the thing I did. So I learned everything I could about having awesome sleep. And I got monitors, I got like gadgets to measure the quality of my sleep, and I started to improve it. And then the next thing I realized, I just read the article about diet or how you eat and when you eat. How Hugh Jackman, to prepare for Wolverine, built the cut body, super awesome abs that we can see, and all the men are jealous and all the women loves. So apparently intermittent fasting and changing his diet is part of the thing. So we've got the concept. You can see that I've got sleep and diet. Well, the next thing is, what's the relationship between these two? Right? They're definitely related because we're one person. And I realized as I think about it, as I digest it, okay, I learned all these things about that. I realized when I eat really close to my sleep because I was hungry or I overate, my sleep score actually goes down. My sleep score decreases. Then I started to work out, there's a relationship between sleep and diet. So my energy formula, and if you've seen my other video, you will see that sleep and diet are complementary and they're additive and they affect each other. So there is a relationship. And that's the beginning of my Executive Warrior energy formula. Because from then, that point onwards, we got fix our sleep, we fix our diet, and then we need to fix our movement. And this is more like for my traditional training, what I eat. If I eat the wrong food, like I used to have a lot of dairy. I think that's high in protein, as they told me. And turns out it's not good for me. It means I got hardly any energy during sparring practice. When I practice with another partner and it's like fake fighting, but we push each other for the purpose of personal development and improvement. And then I realized how all three things are connected. And this is how I build my system of understanding that for you to build the vitality energy, to truly achieve and conquer, you need to fix your sleep, you need to fix your diet, you need to fix your movement. And they go hand in hand. They affect each other. My diet is affecting my movement, my diet is affecting my sleep. Can you see what I'm doing? As I pick up new knowledge, I'm slowly building up my framework of understanding. And so today I can share this Executive Warrior energy formula very simply to the executives, to the leadership I train, and in a way that they can understand. Because once you've got that, you want to take out the energy parasite. You want to take out the mind sinkhole or emotional sinkhole, right? And then you plus your biohacking tools. And that will give you vitality. And not just any vitality, super vitality. We're not talking about ordinary levels of vitality. All these things are things I've learned and come along the way. And I realize they all have a relationship with each other. And that's why I can recall these things. As I learn new things about movement, if I learn new things, mindfulness, that's a way to manage your mind sinkhole, your emotional sinkhole that suck energy from your day-to-day, from your physical performance, and from your goals. I integrate in the formula. I can start to have a system for absorbing new information now. So those are the three things I find extremely useful for me to retain knowledge. And a lot of people go through on the same courses that I do, but they simply don't get as much out of what the course. They have trouble remember. Like I have books I read 10 years ago, and today I still remember the core essence of what about the book. And a lot of the colleagues I speak to, they struggle to remember one thing from the book, and this is the reason. I was able to take these things, which let me quickly go through with you again. So the 3 tips, let me bring it up, okay? So the first thing is learning to teach someone. Learn with the intent to teach someone as soon as possible. Space and recall. Give us some space, recall, space, and repeat. Do that as many times as you can, and you reinforce the neural pathway. And lastly, to digest and integrate, create your framework and integrate this new knowledge into your understanding and form this mind party that's pliable, that's flexible, that's useful. So I sincerely hope that this information I'm sharing with you will help you become smarter in retaining knowledge and be able to go and help you conquer your goals today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your life. So is this good information? Let me know. I hope that you find this information awesome, but if you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'm more than happy to answer them. All right, guys, I thank you for joining me in today's session, and I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Take care, guys. Bye.